Alright everyone, welcome back to round 3 coverage of Friday Night Magic from Lost Legion Games in South Charleston, West Virginia. As always, my name is Zachary Evans, and let's talk about the matchup that we've got for you. In this, the third round of Swiss, the third round of 4, 2 undefeated players for you. On the left, Alec Myers, stream regular, playing American Flash. You might be asking which version of American Flash it is, and if you watched last week, you'll remember that it is every version of American Flash somewhat jammed together. He has a lot of different strategies put into the deck. I think he's playing Aurelias and Reckoners and a lot of things like that, so we'll just see what shows up as he cycles, I think, twice. And playing against Chris Harless, who we haven't seen in several weeks, but he and his crew are back playing FNM, and Chris is on Grixis control. And I apologize for the drop-off in commentary there, as I'm trying to... It's a one-man show over here. So I can do everything by myself, sending out some tweets. So, Chris landing Chromatic Lantern, Alec playing some Draw Go, flashing back the back half of his Think Twice, looking for some business. And Chris responds by flashing back his own Think Twice. So Chris playing Chromatic Lantern, which I can only imagine means he has a copy of Door to Nothingness in this deck. Chris is very much a fan of the card Door to Nothingness, so we'll see exactly what his build entails. That is very surprising to see Sands of Delirium in the main deck, but that... if you remember from Chris in the past, Chris likes to play a lot of novelty decks. He likes to play a lot of random one-of win conditions, so that's not necessarily surprising to see Sands as a mill alternate win. Alec into turn going to flash out an Angel while Chris is tapped low and put some pressure on the board. Plays a Hallowed Fountain untapped, which usually in this spot signals Sphinx's Revelation. So we'll see if that is in fact the tell he's giving. Question is Alec playing Snapcasters this week, since last week he was not playing Snapcasters? And then Chris making the mistake of showing both cards, although it wouldn't matter because Alec is certainly going to know that, surely going to know that the second one is coming. End of turn, Sphinx's Revelation, running into a Dissipate. Could not have countered that quickly enough, but Alec just going to cast the second one. I believe that one, Sphinx's Revelation, is removed from game, so I will remind him of that. One of the Sphinxes is removed. Got it. Although the chances of that being relevant in this matchup are slim to none. Nicole Bowl is coming down while Alec is tapped out. Now Chris deciding what land he wants to blow up. It is in fact a Sacred Foundry. And now Alec up against it. With Bolus on 8. Question in the chat from Bursnick says, where's the store located? He usually plays at Hometown Hobbies, which is the next store over. We are in fact located in South Charleston, just behind the mound. Feel free to get in touch with me on Facebook or Twitter, or send me an email at zachsellsmagic.com, or zachsellsmagic@gmail, I should say, if you want any more information about where the store is. We would obviously love to have you. So Aurelia coming down while Chris is tapped out does do some damage to 2. Nicole Bowles, more importantly, gets it down to 2 loyalty, so Chris cannot steal the Aurelia back. But Chris can land a Jace Memory Adept while Alec is tapped out. And Chris wisely going to the draw card, mill a card plan and not immediately zeroing and milling 10 cards. As we saw in the previous round, sometimes that does just not get there, and I don't really think Chris is on the mill plan this game. So, in fact, he does sacrifice his Nicole Bowles to steal the Aurelia. I made the mistake there of not realizing it was a -2 activation on that. Seems like a fair trade. Aurelia does have haste, but I believe Chris not realizing that he could, in fact, attack with it on his turn. Very small rules interaction mistake, but it does make a huge difference. So still upping on Jace to draw cards and keep his hand loaded with gas. And there is Staff of Min, so all the 1-0s showing up out of Chris. Counterflux going to take out the Staff of Min. I think Alec at this point is just trying to keep as much pressure off the board as he can, as he's way behind as it is. Azorius Charm, very good in this spot, unless Chris can counter it, because it will go back on the top of Alec's deck. He's going to be able to untap and kill that Jace. Obviously, Chris does not have the counter spell. That is, in fact, what he does. So a huge swing there. Obviously, Chris didn't have the counter spell, or he would have countered the Azorius Charm. So Chris goes from being way ahead to possibly way behind. Devil's Play, for however much it takes to kill Aurelia, meets a Dissipate. And Alec digging out of this one pretty impressively. So Aurelia getting work done. Chris hoping the top of his deck is friendly to him. See a Counterflux, which is too little too late. Is it Charm looting mode? Needs to find something to deal with that Aurelia. Discarding a Searing Spear and a land. Dreadbore. Does the Dreadbore resolve? Draw 2, discard 2. He drew into an Azorius Charm. I don't know if he drew into a counterspell or not. But he's going to be able to cycle that Azorius Charm. That's what he's going to do. Digging for the counterspell. And does not get there. So we're back to square one here. Alec drawing off the top. Trying to find something to close this game out. There's a Reckoner. It has a way of doing that. I'll tell you what, I'm obviously very biased, but we've had some pretty good games of Magic on the stream tonight. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you're watching on YouTube after the fact, hopefully it was worth your time. Reckoner serves in 3-turn clock. Chris going to need to find a way to deal with it. Land off the top. And Chris down to his final draw step. Nope, not even going to get there. As a Searing Spear closes out for exact damage. And Alec Myers comes back from what seemed like an unwinnable game state to take game one of this matchup between Grixis Control and American Flash. So like I said, we've got 24 players in the tournament, and these guys are both undefeated at 2-0. There's also 2 other matches at 2-0. Nick Reed, who we saw in round 2, playing Esper Control. He is 2-0 and playing against Brandon Booth, who I believe is playing a Gruul aggro deck. We also have Cliff Markham, who's here. I'm not sure what Cliff is playing, and he is playing against his buddy Charles Warren. I also don't know what he is playing. So, assuming they win, maybe we'll see them later on, either in the next round or the top 8. And then there are a slew, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players on 1-1. And then 2 unfortunate matches down at the bottom. So So these guys move to the sideboard. Let's check out the chat and see what's going on. Someone pointed out that FNM Standard is so much more interesting than Tournament Standard. That's what I think too. You know, we've actually gotten railed by multiple people as they... I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but there are certain people on the internet that don't seem to enjoy anything. And they've gotten onto us because some of the play on our FNM stream over the last 9 months hasn't been pro quality level. Some of the decks have been a little bit maybe underpowered, but in most cases just different than your typical standard top 8. And I think that's exactly what I would want to watch on an FNM stream like this, is something different than Naya Blitz mirrors and Drown Yard fights. Someone wants to watch, someone said he has to leave because his wife wants to grab a late lunch, which I'm curious as to where that is, that they want to grab a late lunch. Oh, maybe the West Coast. Maybe the U.S. West Coast, possibly. Honolulu, Hawaii also works. So thanks for watching all the way from Honolulu. I wish we were... I was about to say I wish we were in Honolulu, but actually the weather here in West Virginia has changed, and it has been 70 degrees, 75 degrees all week. So can't complain too much. Well, thanks, Manjiru, for watching from Hawaii. Aloha to you as well. Make sure to check us out on our YouTube channel. That, of course, being youtube.com/ZachSellsMagic. I mentioned it earlier in the night, but a couple months ago, due to basically some requests from guys like you who watch the stream and follow us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/ZachSellsMagic, looking for some Commander content, so I did a deck tech of my Mimeoplasm EDH deck. And again, I don't claim to be good at Magic. I don't claim to be an EDH expert. I just have some EDH decks that I like playing, and I think that they're pretty fun. So we did a review of that one earlier this week. I believe it was on Thursday. So maybe yesterday or maybe it was Tuesday. I literally can't remember. Put up a second in that series, which is a review of my Rafik of the Mini EDH deck. So make sure to head over to youtube.com/ZachSellsMagic. Check that out, along with literally everything we have ever recorded in the history of our Magic stream. So these guys finishing up sideboarding here. Hold on just a second.
How did I get my one over really back?
I may have mentioned on the stream that I don't think I did it. And then the accident. Azorius Charm is very good. Yeah, I just slammed the door like a total jerk. Alright, so we're going to move to game 3 here in this round 3 matchup. So if we are running 4 rounds tonight, which I imagine that we are, one of these guys will win and then move on into the draw-in bracket, while the loser will have to play it out. Sir Cucumber in the chat does not like the fact that I play Rafik. Well, it's 1 of 4. It's the one I play the least. But I do like Rafik. It was the Voltron deck of choice for me. As I mentioned in the video, I just wanted to play one EDH deck where I could get like 5 equipment on one dude. Rafik was the one. So the guys have drawn their openers. Alec is on sending his 7 back for a fresh 6, and Chris has kept his opening 7, which is full of lands, a Searing Spear, a Snapcaster Mage, and I could not see what the other cards were. So Descent 101, our loyal Australian viewer, also having to take off mid-round to handle some real-life business. Of course, real life always trumps watching imaginary wizard fights over the internet. As much as we appreciate all of your all's dedicated viewing, you do not have to apologize at all for doing real-life stuff. And some of you noticing, not remembering Chris's name, but remembering his pregame rituals. Yu-Gi-Oh cards, HeroClix guy. That is Chris. So Chris playing a turn 2 Watery Grave untapped. Interesting. Just jamming the Snapcaster Mage for no value on turn 2. I guess Chris is trying to be the beatdown here? Seems very interesting. Might be the right play since he is playing burn spells. So we see Assemble the Legion in Alec's hand. That card is going to be very difficult for Chris to deal with. Alec also has a Cavern of Souls, I think, and a Detention Sphere. So this is a pretty brutal draw from Alec. Chris's Grixis deck is going to have a hard time dealing with that Assemble the Legion. And Cavern is going to help Alec tremendously in the counter battle. So pounding in with the Snapcaster. And Alec flashing back, think twice, end of turn. What's the name?
Angel.
Angel. And I use my high-tech communications method to determine that Angel is the card named by Snapcaster Mage. Yeah, Chris is just going for it here. He's just he's kept what he's envisioned is an aggressive draw, and he's just going to pound in with the Snapcaster as a Grizzly Bear and try to burn Alec out. 5 mana for a Tamiyo. Will it resolve? Will it resolve? Getting the dice seems to indicate that it will. Tapping down the white source. But before that, Alec explaining that he's Chris trying to shortcut there with his attack step, but Alec letting him back it up since he was going to respond to the tap ability from Tamiyo to cast his Restoration Angel. So passing the turn back, Angel's going to plow into Tamiyo. Then Alec's going to pass back. Still short the white mana he needs to cast the Assemble Legion in his hand. Well, the 5th mana, now that the Hallowed Fountain is tapped down. Chris correctly going to keep tapping down the white source. Needs to find a way to deal with that Angel. Plays another land, Shock Land, untapped. And plays a Chromatic Lantern. There is Detention Sphere, likely on Tamiyo. But we'll see if it resolves first before Alec has to name his target. It is going to be met with Negate, so Chris effectively tapped out here. But Alec can't take advantage, just plays a tapped Steam Vents. So interesting there, Chris tapping down the Restoration Angel last turn, which keeps Alec off of, or rather I should say, Alec with only one white mana source has to decide each turn if he wanted to use the D-Sphere or cast a Symbol of the Legion. He went with the reactive play, trying to take out the Tamiyo, and missed. And in the meantime, Chris has drawn a victim of, not a victim, a tribute to hunger, making Alec have to sack his angel and then gaining him some life. So Alec down to 9 here. We do know that he does have a Symbol of the Legion and Sphinx's Revelation in his hand, so he has plenty of business. Does this resolve? Looks like Snapcaster Negate will take it out. So Chris in a great spot here. 4 power attackers on the board with a live Tamiyo. Ups Tamiyo, pounds in with both of his effective Grizzly Bears at this point. Very expensive, very good Grizzly Bears. Chris playing the land in his hand, not bluffing the counter magic. Wouldn't have mattered anyway. Alec under too much pressure and goes for Sphinx's Revelation 4-5, putting him back up to 10. So Alec main phasing that Sphinx's Revelation so that he could avoid a counter magic. Searing Spear. Flashback a Searing Spear. Main phase. Pretty aggressive. I guess do it while Alec is tapped out. Seems fine. Chaining Sphinx's Revelations together. Literally the worst thing ever as far as I'm concerned. Just dragging the game out forever. Alec back up to 10. Facing down 6 power of attackers. And an active Tamiyo the Moon Sage. Yeah, question in the chat about why Chris is playing Chromatic Lantern over Rakdos Keyrune or something similar. That's because I believe he's playing a one copy of Door to Nothingness. Because that is, I think, Chris Harless' favorite Magic card. And to be perfectly honest, it seems fine. Jace Memory Adept off the top for Chris. Does that resolve? It does. Mill one, draw one. Plays the land. Chris not a fan of holding up counter magic bluff. Piling in with 6 power of Snapcasters. So Alec down to this turn. Boros Reckoner does resolve. Augur of Bold's resolve, revealing Boros Charm. We know Alec has a rewind in his hand, so he'll be able to rewind and counterflux, or rewind and Boros Charm. So we're going to tap down that Boros Reckoner. Did we draw something that will deal with the Augur of Bolus? I'm going to draw another card with Jace. A removal spell should work here. Oh, actually, we know Alex has the counter magic, so it's likely that Chris isn't going to be able to get out of this with this particular board state. This Tamiyo goes up to 7. Interestingly, chooses to tap down a land, I guess, as opposed to the Boros Reckoner. That I do not understand. That I do not understand at all. Devil's Play is going to meet a rewind. He does not have enough to flash it back. lots of things going on in this game that I'm not entirely on board with. End of turn, Alec flashing in an angel, blinking augur, revealing the gate. Now with a grip full of cards. I'll tell you what, if Chris ends up losing this game, he's going to have regretted several lines of play. Because it seems to me like he's missed a couple onboard kills. I think he could have flashed back and burned. I think he could have burned Alec out at a different point. But anyway, it is what it is. The game state is as it is. Restoration Angel serves in. Alec has an upkeep. No, he does not. I thought he was holding his hand up to stop Chris during his upkeep. Mill one, draw one off Jace. So Chris likely trying to count up whether or not he can flash back that Devil's Play, or how much mana he has to sink into it to make that Devil's Play lethal. He might be saving that for an opportunity where he thinks he can win a counter war. Of course, he keeps playing these lands. Flashing back Devil's Play. So Alec has a negate. Counterflux on negate. Counterflux on Devil's Play. Interesting sequence of plays there. Baiting out the counterspell from Chris. That's a very strong line of play from Alec, knowing that he can win the counter war and still bait out the counterspell like that. So Alec in a pretty good spot here. Chris hellbent with nothing in his graveyard that's relevant. Boros Charm end of turn knocks Tamiyo down to 1. Restoration Angel is tapped down, as that's apparently what Chris chose to tap down with Tamiyo last turn. Alec lands another Boros Reckoner at 4 life with Chris at 18. Alec's still hanging in there. Alec's hand is a Sphinx's Revelation, a Counterflux, now an Elixir of Immortality, so his life total effectively 9. So Chris may be feeling this one slipping away from him here. Elixir Immortality effectively negating any kind of mill plan that Chris could opt to here. Chris choosing to draw 20 cards here. So I guess his plan is going to be to try and burn Alec out, but we know Alec has Sphinx's Revelation. I don't think he can cast. I don't think he has 2 wide open. Revelation is 1 white and 2 blue, so he can cast it. So Alec's life, if he pops, the Elixir is effectively 9. If he wants to go with the Sphinx's Revelation, it is 7. Everyone in the chat talking about, did the Grixis player have the win on board? He did, in fact. He chose to tap down a land rather than the Reckoner. We mentioned that earlier. Not sure exactly what was going on there, but it doesn't matter as it is long since passed. Now I'm joined by Garrett. How'd your round 3 go, Garrett?
Run the loser's bracket to the top.
2-1 now.
2-1.
Well, we're watching Chris Harless' Grixis control deck try to stave off elimination here in Game 2 against Alec Meyer's American Flash deck. Chris has already passed up on one on-board kill.
Okay.
Possibly a second one involving a flashback Devil's play. He has just ultimated Jace Memory Adept and drawn 20 cards.
Seems wrong.
Alec has all of that on board and Sphinx's Revelation and Counterflux in his hand. I guess at this point Chris is hoping to either burn him out or cast a door, resolve a door.
Maybe Chris wants the 4th Snapcaster to get the band back together.
Well, Alec was at 4, and if he tapped a Reckoner and attacked, he could have killed him. I can't remember exactly what...
Here's Devil's Play, and we will counterflux it.
Mm-hmm.
Nice 20 cards.
He's going to have to answer it again next turn.
Or answer any of the other 20 cards that the dude just drawn. Like a Searing Spear. Or...
Dreadbore Reckoner. Seems almost irrelevant. What about the other Dreadbore? For the other Reckoner?
How bad's it got to be in Alec's position right now?
I don't know,
So dead on board. No, there's an elixir.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought these 3 Snapcasters. So the life total is 7.
Here we go.
We cracked the elixir before damage.
There's the attack there.
I got blocked the Snapcaster. So
But 2 of those bears got in. Question.
More importantly, I hear someone coming out of the bathroom.
All right, good luck. Good luck.
Yes.
So Garrett steps out to go to the restroom. As we wait the end of this game, we're now joined by Yin. Yin, did you get there?
Yeah.
You're 2-1.
Played against Brian.
So you and Garrett can play on camera next round because you'll surely get paired together.
I don't want to play anyone that's 2-1.
Well, I don't think that's how it works.
Well, I could get paired down or up.
So Chris is discarding now. This is what happens when you draw 20 cards with Jace. He has burned Alec down to 2. He is tapped out. He is discarding a lot of lands
And a Jace.
and a Jace. Sphinx's Revelation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8? Was it 8 mana? Nope, just 7. That's the 3rd Sphinx's Revelation for over 5 for 5 or more that Alec has cast. Of course, he's casting it during his turn there when Chris is tapped out.
Yeah.
As I guarantee you, Chris has a counterspell in his hand because he drew 20 cards. Now the point of the game becomes where I look at the clock and realize there's 11 minutes left. So
And this is game 2.
yeah, if Chris wins this one, it's going to be. Is that enough? Yeah. Chris realizing, or Alec realizing that the Devil's Play that's in Chris's graveyard is more than lethal.
I hated playing against Chris.
Because
Not because I hate Chris. I like him.
it's just a bad matchup, or just he ran really good. Or...
Well, it's the one where he drew 2 Is It Charms right when he needed them.
Well, why don't you cry about it, Yin?
I am.
God.
That's what I'm doing.
Hey, welcome to Yin Whines About Magic, the show.
I am whining about magic. I always do.
Where Yin whines about how dare his opponent have counter magic in his deck.
Well, it's not that he has...
I'm just needling it.
It's not that he has counter magic.
Because Yin has been in here twice, and so far he's told a story about how I can't believe he had Is a Charm, right? Even after I had duress previously in the game and he didn't have Is a Charm. I can't believe he drew it.
2 of them in a row.
Just, Slaughter Games is a charm from now on.
That seems like the pro play, Yin.
Just
Get
on
on
a green
it.
deck.
Get on it.
obviously the right player.
Oh, that's pretty good. So Chris missed some lines there, I will admit. But the comment of the night goes to Berserker666, who called him Huntmaster of the Fells. So congratulations. To answer Slifer the Canadian's question, when will the Twitter giveaway winner be named? Of course, that is not exclusively to Twitter. That is both Twitter and Facebook for last week's giveaway. We draw from each week from the previous week. So the winner for last week will be drawn either later tonight or tomorrow. I've started doing those offline because it does take a kind of a considerable amount of time to compile the list. And then starting from the giveaway that was posted in round 2, you've got until next Friday's FNM to get in for that one, which will be drawn next week. So if you just joined the giveaway, we'll be drawing next weekend. If you're talking about the one from last week, I'll draw tomorrow.
What will you draw?
Someone's name. And then I will...
They call that right.
I don't know what's going on. So, Game 3. We moved to Game 3 here. Tied.
8.5 minutes left.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Alex, very favorite in the 9-minute match.
Yeah. Both because he plays at a breakneck pace and also has a deck that can win before 40 minutes go by.
Do you think he's actually ever broken a neck from playing too fast?
One time. We didn't. It was off. It was an off-feature match. We didn't get it on stream, but he did murder someone. No, I'm
He's
kidding.
like, did you draw?
Guys, I'm kidding. Alec didn't murder anybody. Come on. You got me. You caught me in a fib. So draw go commences. We do know that Alec has assembled a Legion, so he's just waiting for Chris to tap out or tap low, and then he is going to slam a card that Chris cannot beat.
Nicol Bolas smash.
Yeah, Nicol Bolas is 3 turns away, and,
Yeah.
and Alec has counterflux in his hand. Island. I'm just gonna name your card.
Name the land and play.
Watery Grave. Tapped. It's my new commentary style.
Is that a cavern soul?
It's a cavern naming something.
Oh, see this, Jonathan Wright? That's not a desolate lighthouse. What do you think about that?
Of course, Garrett's ribbing stream regular Jonathan Wright, who usually is here playing, but apparently he's got a test early in the morning, so he's at home.
So he's watching instead of playing, which...
Yeah, he doesn't.
He really doesn't understand anything.
So here we go with we go with negate on the staff of Nin, untap, slam, assemble Legion, win the game. That's the game, folks. Whoever blinks first in the counterspell war.
Bam.
I hope that came through on the ambience mic. Oh man, it's the little pleasures. That's what we look for here at the Lost Legion live stream. So not only can Alec counter the threat Chris taps out for, but he can draw a card, untap, play a card that Chris is going to struggle to beat, and leave his own hard counter magic back up.
Can you dreadbore the Assemble the Legion?
You can, but they're going to call a judge, because that's illegal. But main phase Searing Spear when your opponent's at 20. Pretty strong.
Yay.
We need a little symbol that just says Yin Sang approved. It'll just pop up every time a pro play like a pro play like that happens. Uh-oh, there's Yin's most dreaded Is It Charms.
Well, he's not
giving Chris
countering
nothing
anything.
but pure card disadvantage.
Yeah, but I still like Is It Charm as a card.
I do love it as a card, but in
I mean,
this mode,
if he needs to draw something to get rid of the assemble,
right? And he does have
he needs to dig.
he does have Snapcaster Mages, so it's not so bad. Which is also a song.
Snapcaster Mage is not so bad.
No. Ooh.
How you like my
This is,
Jace? Negate.
This is getting countered.
Negate. Counterflux. Counterflux.
Unfortunately, counterflux doesn't work the way that it should.
So that's the second time in this match that Alec has baited that, which I don't know. I think people miss like how good a play that is. Like in the previous round, he negated something. He soft countered something. Then when Chris cast the last card in hand, which is negate, then he counterflux the first thing.
Yeah.
Like you're just trading you're just baiting out the last counter in his hand. You're trading card for card. I like it.
Yeah. And I think
Because that card was getting countered no matter what. Might as well get the counterspell out of his hand.
exactly.
Pro plays.
Almost as much.
Good. Someone in the chat is saying good list don't play that card. I'd be curious to see which card he's talking about.
Let's see, did we kill one token?
Yeah, we tributed Hunger one of them.
Got there.
We gained
One
one
life.
Hey, that's a 2-for-1.
That's a 2-life swing.
Yeah.
2-life swing.
And we rip Chris, but he's just up against it right now.
Like
There's nothing.
like
yeah.
a Symbol of Legion is tough for decks that play Detention Sphere to beat.
Right.
Chris doesn't have an answer in his colors. He doesn't have a card that deals with that.
Cyclonic Rift, and then can counterspell it.
Yes.
Does it run Cyclonic Rift? I never
only,
saw one.
We can only hope.
Man, have you ever cast Cyclonic? You don't play EDH. You don't play Magic. But have you ever cast Cyclonic Rift in Commander?
No.
It's like the greatest thing in the world.
You know that it says each opponent?
Yeah, Overload says each.
I'm going to tell you about a fun Commander play after this game is over that you won't care about, but I'm going to tell you about anyway.
I think I should put Cyclonic Rift on my EDH deck.
Yeah, you should. Do you have red in there, too?
No.
Okay.
No, it's mono blue.
Well, if you have red in your EDH deck, you should be playing Vandal Blast. And if you have blue in your EDH deck, you should play Cyclonic Rift. And there are no debates about either of these things.
I just haven't updated my EDH deck since, before Cyclonic Rift came out.
Some people might be asking, hey, you buttholes, why aren't you talking about the game?
Because it's over.
The game was over. The game was over the minute that Chris tapped 6 mana and cast Staff of Men.
We're going to Snapcaster Tribute.
And I'm not saying that's bad, because at some point you have to try and win the game, but Alec
It's
was
bad
just
because you let Alec try to cast something first.
Searing Spear in response to Boros Charm. Full priority. Shake my hand.
Assemble! What's that from? What is this a superhero thing?
I want to just say it's like Voltron or something. That was an impressive performance by the Flash deck.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, that's the versatility of the Flash deck, though. It can go from a very strict control deck to a very hard aggro deck.
Yeah, and this match finished before time.
Yep.
As we predicted,
Yes.
Alec's deck is capable of winning this short one. Chris's deck, barring some very specific draws, not capable of doing that. He did cast turn 7 Nicole Bullis in the first game. It's pretty good. So, are you ready to hear about this unsolicited
Awesome
EDH play?
Sure.
I will say, I may have mentioned it before. I will mention that I don't... What is going on? Are you doing some kind of hair playing?
That's exactly what you've been doing.
So here's what happened. I'm playing Commander. It's a 3-player game. Something is happening. There's a Sigarda. There's an Oblivion Stone, I think. My turn. I have Eternal Witness out. End of the player before me's turn. Overload Cyclonic Rift. Bounce everything. My turn. Hardcast Vorinclex. Oh no, Reanimate Vorinclex. Now I have a tons of mana. Hardcast Deadeye Navigator. Paired with Eternal Witness. Bounce Eternal Witness, get Cyclonic Rift back. This happens every turn until my opponents realize that you should concede and we can play another game.
Yes.
I had not built my deck to do that, but that was pretty fun. Actually, it wasn't fun. It was fun to realize I could do that, but then when it actually just, said, I'm going to do this every turn, that was not fun.
That'd be really cool.
Well,
Like a Grixis deck where you can interturn Cyclonic Rift, untap, play the guy that makes everybody discard their hand at the end of your turn.
Sire Tyrants?
Yep.
new card.
Let's talk about Sire Tyrants, want to?
Can you say it 10 times fast?
Sire Tyrant, Sire. Nailed it. Oh, I don't even have him. Do I have it? Balls. I don't have him.
Just put the Facebook logo up. We'll talk about that.
The Facebook logo. Let's talk about this guy. This guy's been spoiled like a million years ago.
Yeah, whatever. He's good.
What's this guy?
Rurik Thar. Of course, your Gruul champion.
Yeah.
play
You don't like him?
He's alright, but he's a 6-drop.
Yeah. Dude, do you remember the Titans?
Yeah.
Because those were 6-drops, and they dominated Standard for 2 full years. I understand there's lots of cool things going on, but, like, I don't know. Another thing is funny is people comment out this card. It's like, well, yeah, but he makes, like, your Farseeks and Ramps bad. Well, you're not, after you get 6 mana, like, do you give a crap about your Farseek?
No, you Farseek up to him.
Yes.
Not Farseek after him.
Yes.
You just play your Kessie Wolfern and Radic to victory.
Yeah. I like this guy a lot.
He has vigilance.
There are a lot of interesting, like 5-6 drop high ends for like the Jund deck. It'd be interesting to see like if they fit in the current Jund shell or if they like a different like Jund, like more aggressive or more controlling deck shows up. I don't know. I like this guy.
I think there will be Wolf Run decks.
Right.
Wolf Run decks with this guy. Farseek's still in for a while. So.
Like turn 5, Silverheart, turn 6 this guy.
Let's start out on Silverheart.
Silverheart's very good. Silverheart would be much better if Thragtusk didn't exist. It's just slotting in its spot.
Yeah, I mean, right now you'll probably do Huntmasters, Thragtusk, this guy.
You can still play Thunder Mohawkeye.
Yeah. Depends what you want to do with it. I have not built that deck. I'm probably not going to, but it is an option. I just don't know what cards would actually go into it.
We'll never catch you playing red and green cards.
Not in that style.
Somehow a debate about how easy it is to go pro has erupted into our chat.
I think it's been around for like the last 10 minutes.
I think it's funny because if you're watching our stream, you're never going pro.
Right.
That's a given. I think that's actually like reverse qualifiers. Like they check. Have you watched the Zach stream? No? You have? Oh, then...
What if Jonathan goes pro?
Jonathan Wright. He's going pro at Captain D's. Got it.
Well, Max used to play at Hardee's or something, didn't he?
Yeah, the original... Before... That's an interesting trivia tidbit for those of you who've been watching forever. Before Lost Legion existed, there's an old store called Treasures, and before Treasures existed, they played FNM in the back room of a Hardee's. You play wherever, it doesn't matter.
Now we're in the room closet.
Alright, let's talk about some more spoilers, see what else I've got on my computer at the time. Like I said, I don't have all of them because it's hard to keep up with every spoiler. And sometimes I post them from my phone. Let's talk about this guy.
The Is-It guy.
The Is-It champion, Alec. Is-It Paragon. Round 4 pairings are going up.
Already. Maybe we can draw? Probably not. 24.
You can't draw a 2-1. Thanks, JB.
Oh no, everyone drew 2 last week at 2-1 because they knew that I would play. And that put them all ahead of me.
Well, I would have to see whether it's possible to draw it.
Really...
We can talk about Melek later, which I think is a fun Commander General, probably not good in Standard. Sure.
We're not standing with the
Well, still, it's got all this. No, it's definitely not possible to draw. But there will be people that draw. I want to get Brienne. Yay! I like playing against her. She's fun. She's a fun lady.
Playing against Michael Taylor because he's probably playing a deck that's going to kill him. Alright, take a 4.
Now I get a look at my own standings. So, we're going to see Yin play against Michael Taylor more than likely. So Jund versus Gruul aggro, probably. That one might be over quick so we can steal another match. Alright, so stick around, guys. Of course, like always, we're dropping like flies because Magic has stopped briefly, but we are moving into round 4. So stick around, we'll be right back. Give me like 1 minute.